Hi, I'm James Ezimoha. Welcome to Africa News, where we'll bring you the latest updates from across the African continent. Here are your headlines. U.S. Army wraps up largest multinational military exercise in East Africa. Police officers in Eastern Congo join M23 group, undergo retraining. 7 killed and thousands displaced after days of relentless rain in Botswana. Catholics in Kenya joined the global community in praying for Pope Francis as he battles a double pneumonia and a kidney issue. In Nairobi, a special service was held at the Holy Family Basilica, where worshippers expressed deep concern and admiration for the 88-year-old pontiff.
Pope Francis remains in a Rome hospital as he receives treatment for severe pneumonia. The Vatican described his condition as critical on Saturday, but on Sunday they reported that he had a calm night and remained alert. In Kenya, Catholic believers gathered for a special mass, praying for his recovery. Church leaders and worshippers shared their hopes and admiration for the Pope, who has led the Catholic Church for over a decade.
Now that the Pope is sick and all the news that we are getting about his health, but we thank God that despite all that, he's in safe hands, he's in hospital, and above all, he's in safe hands of God. My prayer is that he gets well. With having been a shepherd for all the years, he has a lot for us to gain from him.
The admiration for this old man that has gone to all over the world, old as he is, without fear of judgment and without fear for his health. So he has given it all for the gospel. So I'm admiring him also, and we pray for him in this particular moment in which his health is really weak and in danger. And he's ready also to leave the job, whether we'll be renouncing the job or even maybe the final call. We are not, he is somebody who knows who he is and where he is going.
As the Pope continues his recovery, the Vatican has assured Catholics worldwide that he remains under close medical supervision.
In Eastern Congo, over 1,800 police officers have joined the M23 group in Bukavu. The group claims they are fighting for the rights of the Congolese people, despite calls from the UN Security Council for them to withdraw. Meanwhile, M23 leaders say they have begun retraining the new recruits to maintain discipline and governance among the troops.
Hundreds of police officers in Bukavu have joined the M23 group after it took control of the city in Eastern Congo last week, without resistance from government forces. The officers, now under M23 command, prepared for retraining, something M23 leaders say is key to maintaining discipline and governance. Wearing newly issued uniforms, they clapped along as M23 leaders delivered speeches celebrating their induction.
Where you are going is for retraining. Do you hear me well? You are going for retraining to add more knowledge on top of what you already have. You have worked for many years in foolishness. You have committed acts that are not good. Yet we, the police, are supposed to be friends of the population. Isn't that so? Unfortunately, you were placed in a bad life, in difficult and complicated conditions. You came to serve under the flag, but your life was turned into nothing. Do you hear me well? And when our lives were turned into nothing, they put military regulations in front of us to constrain us.
M23 spokesperson Lawrence Kanyuka Kingston emphasized that discipline would be a key focus of the training.
First and foremost, discipline. Our army is disciplined. The Congolese Revolutionary Army is disciplined. There is no stealing, there is military ethics. We will teach them the ideology of being soldiers and to support, protect and defend our people, just like the soldiers we have.
According to the M23, it is fighting for the rights of Congo's Tutsis and other Kinyarwanda speakers. However, the Congolese government claims that the group and Rwanda, which has been accused of backing the group, are more interested in taking advantage of its abundant mineral riches, which include tantalum, tungsten, tin and gold. The Congolese government has yet to react to the mass police surrender and retraining. In the meantime, the UN and other regional leaders continue to push for a peaceful resolution as fears grow over the rebels' long-term plans for Eastern Congo.
Ugandan opposition leader Dr. Kizza Besigye has been charged with treason just days after his court ruling was delayed. Authorities accuse him and others of plotting to overthrow the government. Besigye, who appeared in court in a wheelchair, remains in custody.
Dr. Kizza Besigye arrived at Nakawa Magistrate Court under heavy security on Friday. Prison wardens wheeled him into the courtroom, where he sat alongside his co-accused, Obed Lutal and Captain Dennis Ola. Magistrate Esther Nyandoy read the charges, accusing them of plotting to overthrow the Ugandan government through force of arms. The court ordered Besigye to remain in custody until March 7th.
Colonel retired Dr. Kizza Besigye, Haji Obed Lutale, and Captain Dennis Ola and others still at large between the year of 2023 and November 2024 at various places including Geneva, Switzerland, Athens in Greece, Nairobi in Kenya, and Kampala in Uganda contrived a plot, act, or matter by force of arms to overthrow the government of Uganda.
Outside the courthouse, Besigye's lawyer, Erias Lukwago, criticized the authorities, alleging they are neglecting his client's medical needs.
Today he's brought in a wheelchair.
Today he was brought in a wheelchair. We have asked, do they want to see him in a coffin tomorrow? And the Constitution grants all these rights. Look at Article 23. It is very, very clear. An accused person who is in detention has got a right to get medical treatment from a private facility at their own expense, and Dr. Besigye was ready to meet the cost. What is the fuss about keeping him there without according him this right to access medical treatment from a facility of his choice?
Besigye, a longtime critic of President Yoweri Museveni, has faced multiple arrests over the years. His detention has sparked concerns among opposition supporters, who accuse the government of using the judiciary to silence dissent. He remains in custody, with his next court appearance set for March 7th.
A fire broke out near Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, but officials say flights were not disrupted. Emergency crews worked to contain the blaze. Emergency teams in Nairobi responded to a grassland fire inside Jomo Kenyatta International Airport's northern compound on Friday evening. Kenya Airways confirmed the fire was not near the airstrip and did not impact flight operations. The Kenya Red Cross reported that response teams were on site, battling the flames. An airport worker also confirmed that flights remained unaffected. Authorities have not disclosed the cause of the fire, but efforts to contain it were underway. Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is Kenya's busiest airport, handling millions of passengers annually. The U.S. Army wrapped up its largest multinational military exercise in East Africa, training 1,700 troops from over 15 nations. The drills focused on crisis response and disaster preparedness.
Justified Accord 2025, the premier US Africa Command military exercise in East Africa, concluded after nearly 2 weeks of intensive training. Led by the US Army's Southern European Task Force, the drills included crisis response training in Kenya, Djibouti, and Tanzania. Kenyan forces also received specialized training on chemical and radiological disaster containment. The exercise aims to strengthen military cooperation amid ongoing budget cuts by the Trump administration. Brigadier General Kenneth Moore emphasized the expansion of Justified Accord over the years.
Over the last 4 years, it's expanded in scope and scale. So what you saw today was just a culmination of all the years of training and building our partnership with not just Kenya, but other East African partners, as well as NATO forces and Particularly this year, there's about 1,700 participants.
Kenyan forces also improved their readiness for chemical and radiological emergencies.
Currently, we have built capacity in terms of CBAN response, that is basically from CBAN defense, response, and mitigation of hazardous effects of CBAN effects.
The exercise highlights growing security collaboration in the region as the US seeks to maintain its military presence despite budget cuts.
At least 7 people have been killed and thousands displaced after days of relentless rains in Botswana. Authorities have shut down schools and blocked roads as emergency crews brace for more rainfall. President Duma Boko said on Saturday that at least 7 people, including 3 children, have died and over 1,700 people have been evacuated. Gaborone, the capital, has been among the hardest hit areas. The city's main dam is overflowing, washing away cars and trapping residents. Authorities say inadequate drainage in some urban areas may have worsened the situation. With more rains expected, officials warn of further disruptions in the coming days. Sudan's Rapid Support Forces and allied groups have signed a new charter to form what they call a government of peace and unity. The charter, reportedly signed in Nairobi, Kenya, has drawn concerns from the United Nations and is unlikely to gain widespread recognition. Meantime, the Sudanese government has accused the United Arab Emirates of backing the RSF, a claim the UAE has denied.
The signing, which reportedly took place in Nairobi, Kenya, comes amid nearly 2 years of civil war that has divided Sudan. The Rapid Support Forces now control large areas in Darfur and Kordofan, while the army pushes back in central Sudan. The new charter calls for a secular, democratic state with a unified national army, though it allows armed groups to remain operational. One of the signatories, Sudanese politician Suleiman Sandal, says the charter represents a vision for a new Sudan.
This charter is a binding covenant that embodies the Sudanese wishes to build a new Sudan that is based on secularism, justice and equality among all citizens, and the implementation of the rule of law. We are committed to walking this road in front of the challenges that we are going to face.
The Sudanese army has rejected the move, calling it an attempt to establish a parallel government. Meantime, the government has accused the United Arab Emirates of backing the RSF militarily and financially, a claim which UN experts and US lawmakers found credible. However, the UAE denies the accusation. An official announcement from the Sudanese government is expected in the coming days, according to reports.
That's all we have today on Africa News. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to A News.